the Caribbean, and the rest of the world. And welcome to another episode of Roots Connection on Q, right here on Q95, the big station. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it is always wonderful to be in your company for our Roots Connections program. It is great to be in your company for our number one program for navigating a world where change is the only constant. So here on Roots Connection, we feature the change makers in our society, the visionaries who are no longer sitting by the sidelines, talking about what we should be doing to advance our country, our region, our people, but they are on the front line, walking the talk and showing us what happens when we turn our passion for Dominica into action for the development of our country, our people, and our region. So again, we are engaging with our visionaries in areas such as changes we should be concerned about, the changes we should be taking advantage of, and what changes we need to make in order to move our people and our region together. So this evening we have another very packed program for you. We have folks who are going to help us to discuss the topic of building the cultural industry in Dominica. So we're very happy to have those involved in the first Write-Tukubuli Virtual Literary Festival. So yes, it's a name you have never heard before if you're not on social media. Again, it is the Write-Tukubuli Virtual Literary Festival as we continue to embrace innovation for the transformation of our cultural industry. So we're very happy to be joined by Mr. Sam George, Miss Nicole Georges, Mrs. Nicole Georges Bennett, and Miss Annette Phillip, who goes by Arthur Annette Phillip. As always, we're grateful to you, our worldwide audience, for being here with us, whether you're joining us on the radio or you're joining us via social media, Facebook and YouTube, on Q95 FM Radio, Push Past 10 on Facebook, or on YouTube at Q95 FM Radio. Don't forget to share the live and click the notification button to find out whenever we go live. And speaking about joining us, Lambi, I'm not sure if Sherwin is around, but there's an echo. I can hear an echo, and I think my guests also say they can hear an echo, so I'm not sure if that can be rectified in the studio. But I can hear an echo, and the panel can hear an echo, so I'm not sure if someone can look into this for us. As always, we say good evening to you, Lambi. Thank you for being here on the console. And we'll take our calls later in the evening. Good evening to Mr. G and the rest of the Q95 family, Sherwin, our engineer who keeps us connected. So again, let's give a warm Roots Connection welcome to our panel as they tell us a little bit about who they are, a little bit about their professional background, and this is Roots Connections. The connection to Dominica. So, ladies, I'm going to start with our only gentleman for the evening. So, Mr. Sam George, please let us know who you are and your connection to Dominica.
Well, thank you. Good night. Certainly, my connection is to Dominica is first the accent, second, I'm from Dominica, I'm from the best city in Dominica, the best village rather run for. So I'm a software developer, a writer, manager and producer at TDN Network, among other things, but we'll leave that there for now. So let me say good night to my fellow panelists, and of course, good night to viewers and listeners of the big station, the 95. And special good night to the folks on TDN Network with us tonight. They'll be tuning in for this week's interview. but we are still in Anthony's time tonight. So we appreciate you guys staying tuned. But so hang on there with us, and of course, thank you for having us again, Doc.
Yes, thank you for being here. And we're still working on that echo. Sean is looking into it for us. So thank you for being patient. And let's go over to Nicole as she introduces herself and tells us about her connection. And by the way, let's also add, you know that famous commercial in Dominica, Rudolph Thomas Enterprises, that we have been listening to for, what is it, 30 years? Well, now you know the voice behind Rudolph Thomas Enterprises. Mrs. Nicole George's Bennett is that voice that you still hear on the radio 30 years later. So Nicole, tell us a little bit about you and your connection to Dominica.
Well, I never dreamed that bathrooms and bidets would be my legacy, but here we are. And I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to work in Dominican media. I've worked at EBS, Kyrie FM, GIS. I've also done some work for the independent newspaper. And currently I live and reside in Toronto, Canada. But my blood still runs green, black, yellow, purple, all the colors of the Dominican flag. So it is my pleasure to be here tonight, and thank you so much for the invitation.
Yes, certainly. So here is what might be causing the issue. Does anybody else have a second device on? So Annette, are you live streaming using another device? No one has a second device on. So we're still trying to figure out why there's an echo if you're trying to broadcast in two different areas that might be causing it. But let's carry on. We'll continue to see why this echo is happening. So Annette, tell us a little bit about you and your connections to Dominica.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everybody. I'm author Annette Philip now. And I am originally from Dominica. I was born there. I've been waiting a long time. And right now, I am in the beautiful island of St. Nevis. I am now a sales clerk slash author slash content creator. And so, yeah, I've been an author since 2019, December, going on 6 years. I've been a registered published author, and I have loved writing since I was a little girl, which is something that not much people know about. My mother only, God rest her soul, she knew that. So she would have been proud of me. She would have not have been surprised by it, the turn of events. And I love writing, and I'm so happy to be a part of this festival and to be around my other writers, especially for my country, Dominica. I love Dominica, but I just don't have no family there anymore. But I still love it, Yeah, pretty much, that's it.
Yes, thank you for that. I think the echo has stopped. Am I correct, Sam?
Yes.
The echo has, God is good, The devil is a liar, guys. The devil is a liar. Because with technology, you just never know what to expect. But we are grateful that we are up and running and everything is working well. So let me tell our audience a little bit about the virtual festival. And then we have some great news in terms of the number of people who have already registered for this festival. So that is going to be a very telling sign of the importance of a festival like this. But before we do, let me remember that we should always pray for our country, Dominica, especially the challenges that we face the mountain challenges that we continue to face. And everyone knows I like to always thank and give people their flowers when they're alive. So I want to say a very special thank you to both Nicole and Sam, because it is because of them that I now have this program on Roots Connection. So very interesting, because Nicole was the one who connected me with Sam for my first interview when I published Push Past 10. And it was Sam who offered me Untapped Potential on TDN Radio. And Mr. G saw me doing a program, and there came Roots Connections. So giving our people their flowers while they're alive, Nicole and Sam, I want to publicly take this opportunity to thank you for creating the pathway for me to be on this program. So I cannot let this program end without saying so. So let me tell you about the festival, and then guys, feel free to chime in on any information I may have missed. So Dominica's first ever Write-Tukubuli Virtual Literary Festival. The inaugural Write-Tukubuli Virtual Literary Festival is a dynamic online showcase of Dominica's literary talent, and it is going to be held from September the 15th to the 20th of this year, 2025, spanning 6 days of a digital celebration. The Write-Tukubuli Festival aims to bring together authors and word lovers from across the island, the diaspora, for a series of workshops, discussions, interviews, contests, immersive digital story experiences, and live streams, all hosted across the most popular social media platforms. This year's virtual festival will explore timely and thought-provoking topics such as the future of storytelling and AI, with a focus on audience engagement online. Program highlights include writers' workshops led by seasoned authors and emerging voices, podcast features on writing life, craft, and Caribbean identity, short story and spoken word contests with audience voting, Write-Tukubuli challenges across Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. Writers, published or unpublished, are invited to register. Well, unfortunately, registration has closed. The registration deadline was August 23rd. So unfortunately, if you had not had a chance to register, registration is closed, but it continues. Dominica has a deep treasure trove of stories, rhythms, and voices shaped by our landscape and resilience, says the festival team. Write-Tukubuli is about claiming space in the global literary conversation, digitally, boldly, and authentically. The festival is a collaborative product of the Write-Tukubuli Writers, Nature Isle Literary Festival. My stuff is cut off for some reason, so you guys will fill in the blanks for me. Pito Noir Collective and Dominica Poetic Circle, organizations dedicated to nurturing literary expression and creative excellence across Dominica. So that kind of just sums up exactly what we're going to be exploring this evening. So Sam, Nicole, chime in on more details, including why this festival, how the festival came to be, whose idea it was, and just kind of give us a little bit more information about the festival.
Why the festival? Why it's needed? We think the festival is important at this moment in time. Dominica and the wider Caribbean are overflowing with stories and storytellers, writers, But the problem is, or one of the problems is that our writers are struggling. They often struggle to find platforms to share their work beyond, their immediate circles. And of course, uh, you know, the Right to Kubuli Virtual Literary Festival is looking to create that stage. One where our authors can stand tall. Right where our youth can feel inspired, where our diaspora can reconnect with the richness of Dominican storytelling, and because the world is connected digitally. I mean, here we are on a digital platform. We can reach audiences both in Dominica and across the globe. So the timing for the festival feels right. Now is the time to say our voices matter, and our stories matter as well.
And if I
Yes.
could just jump in, Simone. So I noticed that you were saying that part of the press release that you have is cut off. So I just want to make sure that we mention that this is a collaboration between Piton Noir, Sci-Fi Collective, Write-Tukubuli Writers, Nature Isle Literary Festival. They have a Facebook presence still, as well as the Dominice Poetic Circle. So we are actually a steering committee made up of representatives from all of those literary bodies, and came together and decided that we really wanted to provide a showcase this year in particular for Dominican literature, because we had not noticed anything on the local calendar that was celebrating Dominican authors or the literary work. So this is our response to that gap, and we're really try to put together something that's unique and is still very timely for the digital age that we're living in.
Yes, excellent. And I'm really happy that we have author Annette Phillip here with us this evening, because we're all authors in our own right on this panel. But I know Annette has been on the forefront in terms of creating marketing opportunities for herself. So I really want her to be able to, because that is an area where a lot of authors are struggling, because oftentimes we feel like we will write the book and the book will sell itself, right? Because we're so confident in our content. But the reality is that publishing and marketing of a book are two completely different fields. So, Annette, I want you to speak with us for just a little bit in terms of your initial struggles. I know that you've created your pathways to success, but tell us about your initial struggles as an author.
So honestly, I did not when I started. I honestly did not have a lot of struggles. The only main struggle I had was COVID, and I did work with it. But I'm just the kind of person that reach out to people. When Sammy One first came out in 2019, I did not know what I was doing. Honestly, my illustrator, we worked with a printing company, and we printed 100 books. That's 100 books at $10 a book. And I kid you not, I had no idea what I was going to do, but I know my books were going to sell. And I was a nanny at the time in Brooklyn. I was working in Brooklyn, and I have, I'm a very social butterfly person. So I had a lot of nanny friends and also parents. I had a lot of parents that were my friends too. And so I just used to talk to them. I just brought the books, and I would just talk to them. And they knew me because I did story time at the libraries. I did play dates. So I met the parents. I was always in conversation with parents and nannies. So it was easy for me to slide my book in there. And I read for the kids all the time. So that helped too. And then I did, so one of the things I did was I had a mixer to bring out my book. So I had a big mixer and I was so nervous because I rented a place. But I had a lot of friends, all different walks of life. I think not sticking to one set of people sometimes is not a good thing. I had American friends, white and black. I had Caribbean from all over. So I was so happy when I did the event and they showed up. And it was really a big success for me, and it really helped me to even realize how important Sammy was. Then I had my church people. So I talked to my pastor, I brought the books to church, and all the congregation bought the books. Within a month and a half, I sold the 100 books.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and people not only like bought it, but they met me and they said, you did a good job with the books. So that motivated me, and the reviews. And then I got myself into groups on Facebook where they read your books, you read their books, they review your books on Amazon. I found platforms to make it work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I met authors like myself that knew other authors. So we did author connecting with authors. So all of that just made it blow up. And I was able to do more mixers, virtual after COVID, and all of that. So that just really helped me to get ideas. And then Eric, my illustrator, shout out to Eric Hutchinson. Love this guy so much. He gave me ideas too on how to go about it, because 2 years ago I did not know anything about Reels. I only found out about Reels in June 2023. And Eric said, you know what? Go on social media platforms, do something. I did a month marketing project with him. Then he said, go Google this on TikTok, check this out. And then I guess I'm creative, so I just got ideas on how to work the reels to my advantage. And people started buying the books, and people started loving the reels. And I got more. I went to places. I went to the beach. I went to the forest. I went to the parks. I made it innovative and creative, and I think I love doing it, and I think people end up liking that. And then I started growing, and people wanted books, and then I found out about pop-up shops, and then I would just look for pop-up shops, so go on Facebook, find it through a friend, and then a friend would help me. Other people I would meet would help me to find pop-up shops, and yeah, and that's how it is. That's how I end up getting there. It's been amazing.
Yeah, so this seems as seamless for Annette, because clearly Annette is an extrovert, right? So she
Yeah,
talks
right
about
now,
making
yeah.
new connections, but the thing about it is, for many people, they do struggle in that area, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because unfortunately, a lot of people are not willing to step out of their comfort zone. And again, the mistake a lot of us make is that we believe, and it might be true, it is true, we have the conviction that we've written the best book ever written in the history of book writing, right? So I was naive in that sense as well when I wrote Push Past 10, because I'm like, yeah, this is the secret sauce that has been missing in the equation on health and wellness. We talk about eating healthy and working out, but nobody's talking about consistency. Oh, this book is going to sell. Put a couple of keywords in Amazon KDP, and this is going to sell. The reality is that is not the case. The reality is it's an approach that Annette is taking in terms of building that network, in terms of going beyond your friends and family. And Sam, you and Nicole can chime in as well, because I know that you are both authors as well. Going beyond your immediate circle. What is your plan of action to get your book in front of different networks, different Facebook groups? What is your marketing strategy? So Nicole and Sam, if you would like to chime in as well.
Sure. So I would just like to say that my last book was a children's book. And that for me was a whole new dynamic to deal with, because prior to that, I had written more young adults to adults as my readership. So in now writing this children's book, I realized that some of the tips and tricks, if you like, that I'd used for marketing my other books weren't going to work as effectively, because I was dealing with a whole new demographic. I was actually working with two. I'm working with parents as well as kids. So I had to find a way to appeal to parents as well as to make kids want to read the books. So For that, I actually tapped a friend who had just finished her marketing degree, and she sat down with me over a couple of weeks, and we kind of came up with a strategy, and which is something else that I had never done before. I had always sort of, it's just kind of word of mouth or just relying on Amazon, and whatever algorithms they use. So it was the first time that I was proactive in selling the books, and actually had a book launch, which is something that I highly recommend. And for me, it was as simple as just reaching out to Indigo Chapters Indigo, which is a major book chain up here, and asking them for a table. And there was, it was really, I wouldn't say, yeah, it was magical because not only was I able to speak to parents, but I could interact with the kids. And I mean, there were just some really lovely moments, where I could hand the books to the kids could open it. They liked the pictures, they wanted to know about the story. They wanted to have their picture taken with me. So there are different strategies, I think, for different demographics, but I commend Annette for that hard work and that she put in, and it obviously paid off. So we can all learn a lot from her.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk more about marketing strategy, but we're getting ahead of ourselves because we're very excited to be able to
Sorry.
publish and launch people's publish and market our books from our Dominican authors. And Sam will tell us a little bit more about publishing because a lot of people have a lot of great ideas for books. They have the manuscript, but they're stuck. Right? So they're stuck on how do I get this published? And then the next step is how do I get this marketed to the right audience? So we will talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But I wanted to ask, and Sam, this question is to you. Why only Dominican authors in this first festival? So why are we reserving this to Dominican authors?
That's a very good question. While we certainly are not trying to discriminate in any way, Dominica has not had a literary festival since before Hurricane Maria. And I think that, not think, by the number of registrations we've had from authors, even people who provide services to authors, publishers or what have you, by that overwhelming number, much more than we quite honestly expected, tells us that Dominicans are hungry for a festival, a literary festival. And because right now the team doing all of this work is quite small. And so if we had to take on additional islands, or it would have been just too much for this very first one. So at least, so I think that's really the main reason. Now, that is not to say that everyone else across the globe is not invited. Everyone is invited to the festival itself. It's just that the writers and the presenters and the participants of the festival are definitely, we're focused on the island for now. And I think I said earlier that this is a way to connect our people, to connect them, give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. Because I mean, for the number of writers that I personally have met, there are about 10 times to the 10th power more that I have never met, never heard of. Maybe I know them, but I didn't know they are an author. So this is the opportunity to promote each other and support one another.
Mm-hmm.
Simone, if I could jump in, I'd just like to jump in and to add to what Sam is saying. Obviously, we are not trying to be exclusive here only to Dominican. So we have actually, when you look at our description, we're open to Dominican authors, people of Dominican origin, so including the diaspora, friends of Dominica, people who are interested in Caribbean writing themes. It just so happens that the core group of writers who have registered are of Dominican descent, but we are definitely not going to curtail participation, as Sam has said. It is open to anyone who can, who has access to the online social media platforms. And I think our themes tend to be universal as well. I mean, the human experience goes beyond our borders. So we definitely want everyone to feel that there's something there for them to, whether it's to learn more about writing, to enjoy the stories, the unique stories that come from our culture. And who knows, in the future, we definitely would like to widen the parameters a bit more to include OECS CARICOM writers, Caribbean writers, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, and I like what Sam said, because again, the limited human resources, right? To be able to execute something like that. So again, Dominicans and descendants of Dominicans, but again, the festival is open to everybody, right? So you can join in on the panel discussions, you can join in on the social media challenges. It is open to everyone, but the authors are going to be from Dominica. So we're not in any way excluding anyone from being a part of this festival. So again, kind of just tell us what we can expect on the various days of the festival. So take us from the first day all the way to the finale in terms of what we can expect to experience. And again, this is all going to be done virtually. So from the comfort of your home, you will be able to experience the magic and the wonder of Dominica in writing. So what can we expect on the different days of the festival?
Sam, do you want me to start,
Yeah,
and then
Nicole,
you
go
fill
ahead,
in the
Nicole.
gaps? So so I will tell you that what I'm not able to tell you specifics in terms of what's going to be Monday, what's going to be Tuesday, and so forth, because we are inundated with information and people who want to present and people who want to be workshop facilitators, as well as quite an overwhelming number of people who want to showcase their work. So what we're in the process of doing right now is just trying to make the calendar work for everyone so that everybody gets a chance to have a bit of exposure. We do have some core programs that are going to be held from Monday to Friday. So every day of the week, there will be a panel discussion with a hot topic. And that will be called Lit Vibes, LITVIBES. And that will be our live panel discussion. And that will be held every evening. I believe we set it for 7 p.m. So very soon we will have up our calendar of events so that everybody can see exactly what's going to be coming up. But we're going to have the panel discussions. We're going to have writers' workshops. So it's going to be a mix of recorded and live programming, as well as author interviews and excerpts, reading their excerpts from their work. So it's a very comprehensive and very full calendar that we're working on right now.
Mm-hmm. Sam, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, that's pretty much as Nicole said. It's been such an overwhelming response. Up to now, we are still getting people asking if they can register. So, and I don't believe we are halfway through putting together all of the editing and everything like that. It's just been, and I guess in a good way, So it's not a complaint. So we are very happy that folks are still interested and still asking. But certainly, I mean, I have to also say thank you to folks like Annette. The first time I mentioned it to her, she was probably one of the first people to register for the festival. And again, to go back to the question you asked earlier about marketing, I haven't figured it out yet. I mean, to be quite honest, I'm not that guy. I like to do the writing. I like to, but the marketing part, I think I still need to get some tips from Annette as to how she does it.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're going to explore that more. But in
Yeah.
terms of, and I think this is such an exciting revelation when we talk about the number of people who have already registered. So Sam, tell us the number of people who have registered for the festival, and what does that say to you when you see the number of people who have registered to be a part of the festival?
Wow. I mean, we saw before the registration actually closed, we had over 70 registrants. And as I
Mhm.
said, still people are still asking, well, if I can't register for the actual festival, can I still send in, something? So folks are still trying, and even some folks who had registered didn't get to send in the info before the time closed. They are still going to get that opportunity. They can still send in their videos and so on. So, you know, this tells us that, and to be honest, we were a little bit worried when we first embarked on this, what I call a journey. We were,
Yes.
first week
We,
we put out the press release. Yeah,
yeah.
we were like,
We thought it was gonna be a canoe ride, and it turned into a cruise ship.
are people, yeah, are people going to sign up for this, boy? What are we doing? Who told us to even attempt this? And the response, I mean, as I think I mentioned this earlier to you, Doc, that when I saw 20 registrants, I was like, okay, all right, we there. Then I saw 30. I was like, okay. Then I saw 40, and then I didn't look again because I was,
We
until,
started to get scared.
yeah, until registration closed. Because so that I say all that to say that this tells me that Dominican writers and Dominicans in general, even people who are not writers, are hungry for this kind of
Mhm.
space. They're hungry for this kind of connection, and we need to. I know we used to have a very strong literature and community, and so we want to build this back. And this is, I would hope, this is the first step towards creating an atmosphere where you know people are hungry for books and not just and by the way, let me just add that readers as well, we're
Hmm.
hoping that you too will join in. We want to see you send reviews or write reviews of books you've read by Dominican authors. Let us know that you were there, because again, it's not just for writers, it's not just for those who are published, unpublished, reader, because without readers, what's the point of writing? So
Mhm.
it has just been overwhelming, and we are very, very excited um, about getting this on the way. I can't wait for September 15th. It's something I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to.
and one of the things I want us to talk about as well, because we never have these programs in a vacuum, is the state of literacy in Dominica, the state of you know young people actually reading. And I caught a video you did, Annette, because I follow you and I really enjoy your content. Your energy is amazing.
Thank you.
I can
Yeah,
never get enough of you on social media. And I
thank
saw a
you.
video. I saw a video you posted, Annette, and it was so sad because you were talking about trying to get your novel Nola's. Tell me the name.
Metamorphosis, Nola's
Nola's Method
metamorphosis.
into, I believe
Metamorphosis.
it was the college
College,
in
yeah.
St. Kitts,
Yes.
and the struggles you were having. And I believe you said one administrator said to you, "Oh, these kids, they don't read." Can you tell us
They
about that
don't do
experience?
yeah, she said to me they pass the recreational reading area. They go for the books that they have to study, but there's a recreational section for leisure reading and they
Mhm.
don't even look at it.
Wow.
So I was very disappointed and she really wanted to get me on there because they look like they're really hungry for authors and writers. And so I had missed, they do have a poetry session, but I missed that one. because I didn't know as yet. So next year, God's will, if I'm there, I'm going to try to get into that, but it's not enough. So I'm going to actually go to her again in September, and I'm going to propose something. I'm going to try to do an open mic, because you guys know I would do open mics in New York. I'm a poet as well. So I'm going to bring up the idea to do an open mic where we can get them to do prose, short poems, anything like that, and they can come and read it. They can reenact it. Even wear costumes, something that could get them excited about reading and knowing that poetry is fun, exciting, and stuff like that. So I'm going to propose that to her when the new school year starts and see if that could work. Because I really, really want to get them involved. I mean, with my novel and my poetry book, because it's their age range too. So
Yeah,
that's something I can work on.
yeah, and I want to come back to you on this topic. But Nicole, why was it important to collaborate with other literary groups in Dominica on this particular festival? What is the goal? What is the goal of this festival? So we're going to look at the short-term goals as well as the long-term goals. What are you trying to accomplish? So your short-term goals with this festival, and why was it so important to collaborate? Because I say it all the time, too many of us are working in silos. We all have the same idea, we have the same goals, we have the same mission, but we are so divided and we are accomplishing so much less than we're able to accomplish if we come together. So why was it important for the collaboration and your goals?
So collaboration seems to be something that's popped up a lot in my projects, in projects that I've been involved in. Just today, I was thinking about Redemption Road, for example, and that was a 5-year project that brought together voices from almost every sector of Dominican media. I think we touched, and the age ranges and the veteran media personalities, as well as some very new and upcoming journalists and actors. And, it was just such a large collaboration to create that one project. And I see the strength of that. I see the strength of unity when we are promoting our culture. And as you said, one can only do so much, but together we form a strong chord, and there's strength in that. So collaborating with the other writing organizations was very important, because each of us, each group has a particular genre that we're working in, but we are all on the same journey, trying to hone our writing skills, trying to become the storytellers for our culture, the storytellers for our country, for our region, trying to let those thoughts come out, let those ideas come out. And the best way, I believe, to do it, and especially in sort of that current political climate that's happening right now, we really do not have time for rugged individualism when it comes to national development. And if we want Dominican literacy to move forward, to evolve, to be able to be still relevant in the next digital age, because technology is advancing so quickly, we need to be able to find ways to keep ourselves abreast with all of these changes so that we stay relevant and our voices are not overshadowed because we couldn't keep up. So all that to say, collaboration was the linchpin for this festival. We needed to come together as the various groups and form the steering committee. And we're working together effectively. And I think that that's the other thing too, is that there's no room for ego. Right. There's no room for for individual goals. We have a common goal. We have long-term goals and short-term goals. And in the short term, what we want to do is we want to shine that spotlight on our authors. And we want to provide that platform for conversations about writing, about culture, the future of storytelling. We want people to come away with that feeling that, yes, my work was seen, it was it was felt by my readers or viewers, that I connected with other writers. And in terms of the long-term goals, we'd like to see Write-Tukubuli grow. We'd like to see it become part of the cultural calendar for Dominica. We'd like to see it go beyond being a 1 week festival. Right now, our little tagline is join the movement. So we'd like to see it move from being an event to being a movement, and to help nurture a continuous literary culture for Dominica. And of course, to see more of our books published, to see our stories heard on an international stage. So, we've got the short term, we've got the long term goals.
Yeah, excellent, Nicole. Thank you for that. And Sam, let me come over to you because in terms of long-term goals, I see Write-Tukubuli becoming a repository for preserving that rich legacy of literary greats we've had in Dominica, as well as in the area of advancing literacy in Dominica. So, what are your views on that in terms of this being an opportunity to sort of create a repository? Because we all know that Dominica has had some great writers like Alex Lazar, Lennox Honeychurch, Alwyn Booley, just to name a few. But when we look around, where can we find their books? We know that the public library is no longer in existence. And with the digital age, we have to be able to find the work of our literary greats, not just in the physical copy, even if they even still exist outside of their immediate families who may have copies, but the role that Write-Tukubuli can play in terms of creating that so needed repository. And my concern is with every hurricane that strikes Dominica, we're losing more physical copies of books. And I can say this boldly because as a member of CAC, Committee Poétique Creole, I know that we have a number of publications that are no longer in print. So to me, that is very concerning. So what role do you see Write-Tukubuli playing, or is that a role you believe Write-Tukubuli could play as a repository to preserve the literary greats and even potentially transferring it into the digital format where it will be a lot safer than a physical copy that can be blown away by any number of hurricanes in Dominica? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but that would definitely be a long-term goal, and it would have to be in partnership with many others, collaboration with NGOs, the government of Dominica, and of course writers themselves. And you're certainly right. We have so many great authors, who some of them have left us and gone to the great beyond, and their work can't be found anymore, or at least you can't find physical copies. Maybe somebody has a physical copy somewhere, but I think a lot of times we do things and we don't necessarily come up with a plan for the future of that particular, whatever it is, a way to preserve it. And that is one of the goals of the Write-Tukubuli festival, is to help preserve what we've done and continue to support and preserve what we are going to create in the future. So we certainly hope that at some point we can think about how we can maybe digitize some of these books, especially the ones that are available at least,
Mhm.
and put them in a digital library somewhere.
Mhm.
I
Or
will
sell them on Amazon.
even that too, exactly. Republish some of them. As a matter of fact, one of the books that I was looking to see how we could actually get that back in print. I know you're a member of Keck, but is that book by the Creole Dictionary by Jamala?
Yeah, we're actually working on it in Keck,
There you
but the
go.
one we have right now is the Anua Pon Creole, which
Yeah,
I will
so
talk a little
I
bit a little
think
bit about later.
yeah, I think that is a
Yep.
very good book to keep in print. So
Mm-hmm.
if you someone is working on that, that's great
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we still need those. And even I think what's her name, Dr. Violet Coffee, I believe she's
Mm-hmm.
one as well. So I think those are important
Mm-hmm.
to keep to preserve.
Mm-hmm.
And
And here's why I express this concern, because I had Simon Ibrahim Brohim on a program one time, and we were talking about, Kadaslipso, the cultural industry. And it was absolutely mind blowing to me that he was the only person who had certain records of the music played by everyone who has been involved in Kadas Lipso. Some of the members of the family of these artists did not even have copies no more. And I'm
Wow.
saying to him, well, what are we going to do about preserving this if since you have one copy? And his concern was that he has attempted to have the copies duplicated, and it has been a horrible experience because one person took a copy and never brought it back, and that was the only copy of that particular record he has. So that is where the concern is coming from, that we are losing this rich heritage of our cultural industry in music. We are losing it in the literary arts. We are losing it in arts because we don't have, for example, a museum to showcase the prominent people in the literary world, in the cultural industry in Dominica. So it is wonderful to see that there's a potential that in the long term, that is something that we can consider. And I'm also happy that Nicole mentioned the lack of egos in terms of the collaboration, because again, going back to music as part of the cultural industry, one of the reasons we always hear that the music industry in Dominica is not moving forward is because of lack of collaboration. And then when you dig a little bit deeper, you come to realize that there are too many egos. Everyone wants to be the leader, nobody wants to be the follower. Anybody have thoughts on that?
yeah, I think that's anything you are doing, if you can set aside your own selfish need to be recognized or
Yes,
to be
recognition.
seen
Everybody wants
as
the recognition.
the leader. I think that makes a huge difference.
Mhm.
And like everything like everything we do, motive is always important. Why are you doing something? If you are doing whatever it is you're doing, you're taking part in. If your first motivation is being seen or being how do you call it, fame,
Mhm.
that's that. I wouldn't say it's a problem. It's okay to want to be famous, but you can't let that drive what you're doing. You can't let that be the first thing that you think about when you agree to do something.
Mhm.
Um, if your motivation is money, then well, yeah, this one is not for you because there's no monetary profit in
Mhm.
it at this point. And even if it comes to that, you still have to do what you're doing with a good heart, and because you want to do it because you feel it's necessary and because it can help someone else other than yourself. But that's me, that's how I think. So if certain people, take into consideration the broader society or whatever it is they're doing, how it can contribute to society, I think we'll see a huge difference
Mm-hmm.
in in our society.
Mm-hmm.
And to go back quickly to what we're talking about preserving, I think that a lot of our, well, the United States, for example, has something they call the Library of Congress.
Mm-hmm.
All that really is, well, it's a museum, but it's also a library, an actual library where you can go back and find movies, recordings, videos, books, all sorts of things going back uh, over 200 years. So this is something I would like to see happen in our island.
Mm-hmm.
Have our own library where, and it's not that you can check out the book like you can borrow a book from the library, but people can go there and see what was, so they have copies of all kinds of books, all kinds of different types of media. And so the next generation can take a look at that and see. You can also use that to do research, to write books on your own country or write your own history. So there's lots of research potential in that. So that is another reason to preserve whatever it is we are doing. If anyone who wants to write a book on, say, Calypso, for example, should be able to go somewhere, go to a library somewhere, check out some books and see when, who, where, what, who started it, who ended, who made it great, all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't do that, I am afraid we'll be in trouble.
If
Yep.
I may, I just wanted to actually give a shout out to the Roseau Public Library because as much as the physical building doesn't exist anymore, they have moved the collection to the Ministry of Education.
Good.
So that's, I believe, on Kennedy Avenue. So I've actually been there, and it's a tight space, but they are really working very hard to try to keep the collection up to date and to work with the space that they have until such time as government sees fit to build them a new home. So they are actually collaborating with us. So both the Roseau Public Library and the Portsmouth Public Library have sent us some little videos, about the collections, the Dominican collections that they are trying their best to preserve. So I just want to give them a shout out and to
Yeah.
commend the staff because they are really doing their best through difficult times.
Mm-hmm. And that is important to know. That is important to know. Once again, and I'm coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now it is a 9:02, Nicole. I know you beyond stretched thin with all the editing that you're still doing in preparation for the festival. So whenever you need to leave the conversation, please feel free to do so. We want to thank you for being with us. If you would like to stay on, that's fine as well. But we know that with the
Well, you know what? It's so interesting. How can I tear myself away?
But I just wanted to know, as we talked about before the program start, you do have permission. But if you can stay, we would love you to stay on as well. But let us, Annette, I'm going to come right back to you. But let us go over to the studio so Lambi can give out the phone numbers. And then, Annette, when we come back, make a note of the comments you wanted to make. And I also wanted you to tell us, what does this experience mean to you as an author to get to participate in this festival? So, but before we go to the studio, let me just remind our audience that you're listening to Roots Connections on Q. This evening, we're very happy to have with us Mr. Sam George and Mrs. Nicole Georges Bennett and author Annette Phillip. And we're looking at the first Write-Tukubuli Virtual Literary Festival, which is going to be held online. And we will also talk about where you can participate in the festival. So we're talking about embracing innovation for the transformation of our cultural industry. So Lambi, over to you guys. If you're on the Facebook Live, don't forget to post a comment to let us know that you're here. If you want to be acknowledged for being in the audience. Lambi, over to you.
Roots Connection and Q. The numbers to contact us are as follow: 449 3095, 449 3096, 449 3097, 616 4257. Those are all local numbers. The overseas or international number, 305 432 9624. Let me run those one more time: 449 3095 9697, 616 4257, and 305 432 9624. Back to you, Simon.
Yes, thank you, Lambi. And let's say good evening to my mom, Medina Senhouse. Good evening, Daros. All is fine now listening. Nature Island Literary Festival is on, providing the hashtags, which is Write-Tukubuli, Write-Tukubuli 2025, Dominican writers. So those are all hashtags. If you know how to use a hashtag to look up information on social media, those are some of the hashtags. So let's acknowledge some other people who are joining us. Althea Hoppersdales, Yvonne Samuels, Andre Southwell, Lisa Love, Peggy Ann Stevenson, Know Your Culture, Andre Southwell, Deborah Brooks, Zero Shillingford, let's see, Marshall Dollars Lewis, Project Impact Academy, Garth Benjamin, Shaika Peltier, Sophia Brown, let's see who else, Jen, Shins Leighton. So guys, thank you for being here as we continue our conversation. Annette, you wanted to chime in?
Yeah, when she was talking about the library in Dominica, I just wanted to say also that I'm also working with them, and they have made orders for my books, especially and right now, one of them spoke to me yesterday, and I told her that my third CME was coming out. She said, of course, it's the third one. So I'm excited about that. So trying to put it together so that I can get all my three CMEs to them. So I'm happy
Yes,
about
excellent. And that is one of the things I want us to talk about as well, because I know that is an area that many of our authors here outside of Dominica struggle with. How do you get your books to be sold in Dominica? Because many of us use Amazon self-publishing, which works fine if you're in the US, Canada, UK, and the rest of the world. But I'm not sure how effectively it works if you're trying to order a book from Dominica, if you don't have like a postal service that you're already using. So I know that a number of authors have been trying to get their books into like Jay's bookstore. And Sam, luckily, you and I have been able to get Dominica in Puzzle. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Into Jay's bookstore, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Annette, as one of the authors, what does this experience mean for you?
the festival, you mean?
Yes, being able
Oh
to
my gosh.
participate, and you're gonna help me to host my workshop. So tell us what it means to you.
It's amazing because I have learned so much from my journey, as a published author. I have been in so many different areas, different places, even coming to St. Kitts. When I came to St. Kitts last year, October, the plan was to do that. And I did not, the reaction I got, I wasn't expecting it. It was so positive. When I went to the library and I spoke to the librarian, the chief one, immediately, and she said to me, I want you to donate the books. She said, no, we're gonna buy them because it's your work.
Wow.
And they bought all of them except Nola because I did not get my suitcase from Dominica in time. So far, that's the only one they don't have. And the thing is, I bought a ton of books when I was coming from New York. I bought them off of Amazon because I did not know what it was going to be like for me bringing them in through the mail. And now I go through a shipping company. They have a bunch of shipping companies here, which I'm so happy about. So it's a little bit more expensive for me because of I have to pay custom charges, which is not so bad. So what I have decided to do, I'm working with the printing companies right now to get them to either partially sponsor me or to give me bulk prices. So that's what's in the works right now, so that I don't have to do the Amazon thing because it's a little bit expensive for me. So they have received me very well because I have to say that I'm so proud of Dominica. I'm so proud to be a part of that festival because you guys don't even understand how Dominica, we have so many authors, so many writers that they don't have here in St. Kitts. They don't even know much about our authors. Like, you don't hear people talk about it. There's nothing there for writers or authors, nothing like that. No programs, and I'm creating a literacy program for my Sammy books. It's called Sammy the Bunny Literacy Program, which I'm working with the Ministry of Education, and so far, the Youth Empowerment Director is on board, trying to get the Chief Education Officer because they really want to try to get children to read more. So the literacy program, I got approved at the Independence Square to use the space in the park. So you have to go through the parks and beaches and solid waste. I got approved for that, and I'm going to be working with her and hopefully the chief education officer where I can do an hour program with the kids, but it's all surrounded around my bunny, see me? Reading stories for them, teaching them to read, those that cannot read yet, and stuff like that, coloring pages. That's the whole plan. So when Sam told me about the literacy festival, I was so excited because I'm going to grow from that festival because he knows a lot too. Even if he's not like me, marketing all over the place, but he has given me so much insight as well. And I know I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to grow and learn because there's so much to learn, so much to know about being a writer and an author, and I'm sure I have a lot more to learn apart from what I'm doing, and I really am looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I'm very excited that you're going to be joining me for the workshop that I'm going to be doing on marketing because again, you're a wealth of knowledge. But Nicole, let me come to you because when I hear Anna talk about in St. Kitts, they do not know about our Dominican authors. It breaks my heart. Because as far as I'm concerned, we are such a small region of the world, the Caribbean. Why are we not collaborating across these islands so that we are benefiting? Because if you think about it, yes, we may have different accents, we may have different experiences, but when we think about our true identity, our true heritage, the core of our culture, the core of our resilience, the core of the challenges we face as people, we are one. So why haven't we established the opportunities for these regional collaborations in the space of our cultural industries?
Well, Simone, my response might surprise you, and it goes back to egos. And I want to sort of reframe your question in why isn't there OECS unity?
Right.
Why isn't there CARICOM unity? Why did the Federation fall apart? And, I'm also on the OECS Nationals Council Canada, which is a group of diasporans from the different OECS islands. And we come together and we, try to celebrate OECS unity. And it's without giving away uh, um, a conversation that was considered to be private, but someone said, you know what? When you've got leaders who are more interested in their own fame, to borrow a phrase from Sam, and they're more interested in looking as though they are the most progressive or they have the most going on in terms of development in their islands. And they seem to feel that by collaborating with a leader from another island, that somehow this takes away from their shine. And I'm trying to be careful with my words here, but basically it's a top-down problem from what I can see. Our leaders are unable to find common ground, and that filters down, to the common man. And I think that what we have to really overcome is, as Sam says, is what is the bigger picture here, right? When you have leaders that are still saying, that there's roadblocks to travel between the OECS, and we can't seem to find common ground in terms of financial markets, or, there's just so many different obstacles and challenges that still hamper us from being a unit in the Caribbean, or a force within the Caribbean. When you still have islands, the big islands, that look at these um, smaller island federations and organizations and kind of, yeah, we don't need them. We're good. And it's happened. I mean, I was part of a group that we were trying to come together for hurricane relief, and some of the representatives from the larger islands were, well, we already have our own associations, we already have our own fundraising efforts, and we're on a much larger scale than what you guys are able to do. And you really did kind of get the undertone, is like, why would we need you?
Wow.
And yeah, so I think we really, as you say, have to realize that we are all human beings, and human issues are common to all. And we have to start looking at the bigger picture, because right now, in terms of economic blocks, we are not a powerhouse in the Caribbean. You know what I mean? I remember when Britain withdrew their preferential treatment. This is back when I think the WTO was becoming a force, and we were losing protections for bananas, and everybody was sort of running around, screaming, like, what's going to happen to us, and of course we see where the banana industry is today. But we really do have to understand that we need each other. And if we are going to be able to not get swept away by the tides of, all of these international organizations and all of their policies, and, they're all looking out for themselves, we need to also come together, because there is strength in numbers and strength in unity. And we have to be one voice.
Mm-hmm.
How we're going to accomplish that?
Yep, that's a tall order. So it goes way beyond just, our cultural industry. Like you said, the top-down
Mhm.
plague that's affecting all of us is the way to look at it. Sam, you wanted to chime in on that conversation?
I think Nicole said it beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
It starts at the top.
Mm-hmm.
There's a phrase: leadership is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership is everything. I think we need to put the "is" in capital letters, all caps, because without leadership, all we have is disorder, chaos, and people running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Not to be graphic, but I don't. There's just no way any of us can do anything alone. There's
Mm-hmm.
just no way. I mean, Simon, earlier you talked about how we came to know each other, and you know if Nicole had kept your information to herself, or
Mm-hmm.
I kept the knowledge I have to myself, we wouldn't be here.
Nope.
And that is just how important the human connection is,
Mm-hmm.
no matter
Yeah.
where we are. And now technology makes it so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never thought I'd be here having this conversation. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I like to be in the back. But when it is something I feel that is important, not only to me, but to my siblings, I have I have 6 other siblings, and whatever it is I do, and I want that to be something that they can benefit from, and
Mm-hmm.
plus my family. So I want that to be something my sons can benefit from. So, we have to think outside of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so if leadership at the top begins to have that kind of introspection, we won't be perfect, but we will move towards having a better society. We'll
Yeah,
see.
and it kind of boils down to what Nicole said. It begins with removing that egotistical mentality
Mhm.
on so many levels that is hindering us And unfortunately, as a Caribbean region, we're just a dot in the rest
Yeah.
of the world. So
Yeah.
until we come together and unite, we are all setting ourselves up to remain divided, and divided we fall, and not being able to progress
Well,
as we
and
possibly could if we choose to unite. But that's another conversation for another time. But I think it was an important part of the discussion because we see the implications beyond the politics. We see the implications in terms of it hindering our abilities in other industries that are impacting our life. But let us continue because we want to talk about the various workshops and what folks can expect in the various workshops. And we also talked about that we will be able to access this information. But where will we be able, for those in the audience who would like to listen in during the course of the festival, what will be the main platform for viewing, for live streaming? Because I think that is important, and I will make sure to post it in the Facebook comments. So first and foremost, where will we be able to enjoy the festival?
right. So thank you for that question. So first of all, we want to invite you, the public who is watching, who is listening, to go to YouTube and search for Write-Tukubuli. So youtube.com/at Write-Tukubuli, and join our YouTube channel, subscribe, and anticipate the programming. We already have some videos and some of our programming already scheduled for that week.
And without cutting you off, so Write-Tukubuli is one word for the
One word,
YouTube
yes.
channel. So
Right.
let me spell that out for everyone who is listening on the radio. So simply go to YouTube. YouTube is YOUTUBE, youtube.com. So www.youtube.com. And then in the search bar, you can enter WRITETUKUBULI. That's how we spell Kubuli, right?
Correct.
So write to Kubuli, WRITETUKUBULI, and that is where you will be able to see everything for the festival. Go ahead, Sam.
Right. Thank you for that. So everything will be on that channel for sure. And then in addition, we have TDN Network. So all TDN, those of you familiar with TDN Radio, TDN TV, and
Pushback 10.
our YouTube channels, our Facebook pages, of course, Pushback 10, Instagram at TDN Radio Caribbean. So there'll be lots of opportunities and plenty of platforms you can watch on. Choose your favorite platform, and of course, as we get closer to the event, we will continue to post on social media where you can watch. We'll have a full list where you can check us out, and feel, please, even if you watch it the first time a video premieres, keep that in mind and come back and watch it later, because I guarantee you will miss something. In every video you watch, you will miss something. So come back and watch later. Keep it going. Share it. We certainly want you to share it with your circles, because the more shares we get, like the videos, because this pushes the YouTube algorithm and all of the other platforms. This tells them that you want to see this content, and so on. So and any other media house in Dominica that's willing to or interested in carrying some of the events, reach out to us. And again, I must say a big thank you to all the media houses in Dominica so far. Of course, the big station for having us on here tonight, but also when we put out the press release, Kyrie reached out wanting more information. They even did a news item, added it to their news item the same day.
That's it, Q.
DBS reached out, Q95 posted it as well. I believe DNO as well, Emo News. So almost every media house jumped on it
Mhm.
and said, we want more information, and they've been a great support. Even I saw the cultural division shared the release and shared. So it's for this particular event. It has been an all hands on deck, and
Good.
the support has been tremendous, and we are really grateful for that.
I'd
Mhm.
like to add that
Yes.
the videos will also be shared by our partners, our collaborating partners. So, Nature Isle Literary Festival on their social media platforms, as well as Write-Tukubuli Writers, DPC, and Piton Noir. So, all of our media platforms will be also sharing the information and the videos and the different programming for the festival.
Mhm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I want us to talk about is the workshops, podcast, short story, spoken word contest. Just more information on the details. So, for example, the
Mhm.
workshops. So, are we looking? Are we creating categories? So, we're looking at providing information, education for aspiring writers. How do you write? What do you write? How do you begin? And all that information. So, are we looking at aspiring actors, writers? Then we're looking at beginners, intermediate, advanced. Is that how the workshops are structured? So tell us a little bit more about the workshop, and then Annette, I want you to tell us what you think you will be presenting for the workshop that the two of us will be doing. So Nicole and Sam, just tell us a little bit about what we can expect during
Yeah.
the workshops.
Yeah. Well, for example, I'll be presenting a workshop on self-publishing. And one of the reasons for that is not only have I self-published my own book, I've helped or worked with quite a few authors, helped getting them to publish their book. Even people who had written something and they've had it on a shelf somewhere. I know at least two people. I won't call their names, but you know, they
And
sent me
there
their
are
work.
more.
Yeah, they sent me their work, and I was like, my brother, why are you hiding this? In a nutshell,
Mhm.
to make a long story
Mhm.
short,
Mhm.
we got to publish this, and so it's a scary thing, to write something in a diary. You write into yourself, and it's you. So you don't care how it sounds. You don't care how people take it, because only you are the only one who is reading it. But to put your voice out there, I think it takes massive amounts of courage,
Mhm.
because you don't know how people are going to receive what you write.
Mhm.
An author we interviewed said that she still has concerns about her work, that people might think it's inauthentic or something to that
Mhm.
effect. But I think that whatever someone writes, it's authentic to them, and that's what matters. That's the first thing you have to consider. You can't consider what someone else thinks. And so that is, one of the things that these workshops are meant to do. Tell people, well, hey, this is, if you want to do this is how you go about doing it. And some of the workshops like yours
Mhm.
on marketing will talk about how to go from published to now selling, best-selling author, whatever that is. So best-selling author comes from how many books you sell. So if we can use those workshops to not only encourage people, of course, but also uh, help them go from those who are still hanging on to their manuscripts or keeping it hidden, get them go across the finish line, essentially, from manuscript to or draft to being published. I believe we also have a workshop on nonfiction writing. So we are trying to include everyone.
Mhm.
So in each workshop there will be something for everyone, whether you are a short story writer, a full novel writer, a poet. There will be something there for you. And Nicole might have something else to add.
Yeah, and before
Yes, I
Nicole,
do. So in terms of
hold
the
on,
workshop,
Nicole, one second,
sorry.
Nicole, before you chime in, and we also have some prominent um, workshop leaders that will be joining this. So you talked about Dr. Thompson Fontaine leading one of the workshops, Mr. Alec Lazar leading one of the workshops. So this is pretty serious, and I feel like there should be a fee, but anyway. We're doing this for the good. We're doing this for the good of the community, to spark the inspiration and the motivation to get our people to write more. And then we're also going to talk about the importance of getting our children to read more. But Nicole, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, that's fine. And to any potential sponsors out there, we are taking on, you can give us a call. We'll be willing to work with you, and let's get this done. So I just wanted to recap. So the workshop titles will be on self-publishing, breaking into the world of nonfiction writing, marketing your novel, and also we're hoping to do a poetry workshop as well. In terms of the panel discussions, very hot topics is AI, the future of storytelling, vocation. Should Christians be writing secular stories, or people of faith writing secular stories? We'll also have a writing workshop, which will be hosted by Kathy Kazemi. We're also going to be having a discussion on should we be producing books in the 3Ks, Creole, Kokoy, and some was the third one.
Kalinago, the Kalinago language.
Kalinago, thank you. We'll also be talking to writers who are writing outside of the box. So people, for example, who write video game lore, comic books, and even talking to pastors about sermon writing. So looking at areas and fields and industries, songwriters, right, where the art of writing is still as important, but we don't necessarily think of them as writers. And we'll also be looking at improving marketing and distribution of Dominican books. That will actually be a part of our live stream, which will be the culmination at the end of the week of all of the activities for the Write-Tukubuli Virtual Literary Festival. So on Saturday, September the 20th, we will be starting a 6-hour live stream. We're going to incorporate open mics. We're going to have these panel discussions. We're also going to have TDN DJs, Sam, TDN DJs who will be playing music, and just really keeping things very exciting and entertaining, as well as educational, because as Sam likes to say, TDN is all about educating as well as entertaining. And so it's going to be a full week, and it will be culminating with this unique live stream event. I don't think that's ever been done before for a virtual literary festival. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, so guys, let me put a plug in here. So September 15th to the 20th, set your reminder, put it in your cell phone, put it on your calendar on the wall. I think we have a call coming in, so let's take the call.
Good evening, caller. Thanks for joining us. Please go ahead. Caller, are you paying attention? Please go ahead.
They'll call back. Thank you for calling, caller. Yes, September 15th to the 20th. So whether you're an aspiring writer, you have a manuscript, you have an idea in your mind for the last 20 years. I know people who've had ideas for 20, 30, 40 years on a book that your spirit is calling you to write this book, but you haven't done anything about it because maybe you're stuck. You're not sure how to start. Maybe you're not sure if you should be using it in the first person by saying I did or we did, or you should be using it in the third person as in Sammy did or Julia did, and you just need some direction, you need some guidance. Or if you've written a book but you don't know how to publish it, or if you have a book, you don't know how to market it. So this festival is for everyone, or you just want to be inspired, you just want to be a part of a wonderful celebration of Dominica literature, then you certainly want to join us from the 15th to the 20th of September. And again, go to YouTube and simply type in Write-Tukubuli, WRITE Tukubuli. That is the YouTube channel. And if you would like more information, you want to contact Sam or Nicole, you can send them an email at Write-Tukubuli2025 at gmail.com. So again, Write-Tukubuli2025 on gmail.com. And don't forget, if you are interested in catching the replay of this program with all this great information that we are providing, you can go to Q95 FM Radio on Facebook or YouTube, or you can go to Push Past 10 on Facebook. So you can catch the replay of the entire program. But guys, with the limited amount of time we have right now, I want us to touch on two very important topics. And that is the threat, or is it an opportunity with AI? So a very important topic. And what are we going to do about getting our children to read more? Because the reality is, with our children spending so much time on their tablets and being distracted, many of our young children are no longer interested in reading. And then when we look at the benefits of reading to children, we see that it supports their cognitive development, which means it helps them to think and think critically, improved language skills, preparation for academic success, developing a special bond with your children if you read to your children, increased concentration and discipline, improved imagination and creativity, cultivating a lifelong love of learning. And I want to start with you, Sam, because we were talking recently and you talked about, I think Nicole wants to go. Go ahead, Nicole.
Sorry, I was just saying that this is where I do need to sort of step out, and I really hate to do this. But I know that Sam and Annette have got this covered, and it's going to be a really interesting discussion. So everybody stick around for that. And I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity, Dr. Simone. Yes. I won't keep you back anymore, but thank you for allowing us this moment. And
yes. Thank you, Nicole. We know you have a lot of editing to do for the festival.
I do. You're and you definitely don't want to miss it. So I got to get it done. Get it done.
All right. Sounds good. I'll see you at the festival.
Take care. See you there.
Take care. Yes. Bye. So Sam, we were talking recently and you talked about your son's love for reading. So kind of help us, because I think a lot of parents are struggling with this, right? So what did you do something in particular when your son was younger that made him into a lifelong reader? And then Annette, I also want you to chime in regards to, is AI a threat or an opportunity? So let's address both of them together before our time runs off this evening. So Sam, first to you, and then Annette will come to you.
Yeah, I don't know if I did anything, or I should say my wife and I did anything particularly special. I think that, we always believe that reading is important. And I always say that reading is fundamental because it's what I learned, right? And so one of the things I will say that we did is that we didn't just read to him, the younger one at least. We didn't only read to him. We also made him read to us.
Yep.
So at a very young age, we had him reading back to us or reading books to us. So that way he got used to reading rather than just hearing me or his mom talking, He also got to experience the joy of reading for himself at a very young age. And to this day, this young man has never stopped reading. He's as a matter of fact, he contributed to the first free
Peter Noir?
how I call it?
Flying Crapple
anthology. And it's because I encouraged him. This fourth one we are working on, I asked him the other day, is he gonna, he told me, he said, no, Dad, sorry. Because he's in college now and he's too busy for that sort of thing. But I still tell him, even if you still nurture your creative writing skills because you have it naturally, but don't waste as much time as I did embracing that skill because it will serve you well in the long run.
Yeah,
And
absolutely, especially with regards to critical thinking. And Annette, I know that you've worked with young children because you used to be a nanny in New York. So what is your experience? And you know, I always think to myself, what example are we setting for our children? Because yes, your son is passionate about reading, Sam, because you're always working with books. So that doesn't surprise me in the list. He's surrounded, the environment is conducive to producing a child who's interested in books. Yet we tell our children, you need to read more, you need to read more, you need to get off your devices. But what are we doing? While
well,
we are saying this to them, we're on our cell phones scrolling TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, reading. What is the one they send all over the place? My Boyd. We're on WhatsApp all day long, but
yeah,
here we are saying to our children, you need to read more. But our children never see us with a book in front of us reading. So we are
exactly.
setting the example, whether we believe it or not, or we accept it or not. We are setting the example in the way we eat, in our lifestyle, in our reading habits, in the language we use. We are creating the environment that are producing the children that we complain about.
Yeah,
Right?
I
So,
mean,
Annette, your views.
Yeah. So I can speak for Caribbean parents because when I left Dominica, I had never held a kid. I didn't know much about children. But as a nanny in New York, I can speak for I worked with a lot of Jewish families, and I have to tell you, I admire them for that. They ensure that their kids get story time.
Yep.
What they loved about me was that even before I became a writer, not even knowing that I was going to be an author, I already had it in me because I loved reading for the kids. I had kids learn to read without reading. I had two kids on two different occasions. They were two different times, 2 different years, where they memorized the book that I read to them. There was a particular kid, I read the book over and over to him. He just loved that story. He was 2, just started talking, and one day he memorized the entire book. I had another one, same thing. He knew dinosaur names. He just started talking. He knew dinosaur names. He knew all the animals. He could read the book, Monster Trucks. It was just amazing. Because what I would do, and the parents loved me for that, I would read all the time. I even made a story time for them when we're inside. Then I would take them to the library, and then I would help them. I would take them to story time. I would read in the library with them. And I have a few kids. The last one in 2023, she learned to speak early, and her mom was shocked when she heard her talking, and she was at what, 14 months? And she was starting to use words because I used to converse all the time, read. So I think it was in me even before I became a writer. So I admire that about these parents. They ensure that their kids have a bedtime story. They have a limited time for them to be on the iPads, and the kids listen. It's like, I don't know if it's part of the religion or because, I mean, even I don't even say that because they're allowed to use iPads, but they have a downtime where
Yeah,
they can't have that, no
but the
digital.
unfortunate reality is many parents are using the kids' devices as their babysitters. Right? So
Yeah,
you set the kid in front of the iPad or the television or the phone,
yeah,
and so you can carry on with your day. But I like that one of the points that was made in terms of the benefits is the bonding. The bond
yes.
not only with your children, but Sam, we were talking about this recently because what I've decided to do, my daughter, she's actually 14 today. Happy birthday to her.
oh, happy
She
birthday.
turned
Happy birthday
14
to
today,
her.
Sophia. So what I decided to do because I want to continue to bond with her because in their teenage years that's when they start to pull away from the family, and so she's required to read a book every summer. as her summer project. So she finished the book in like 2 weeks because she wanted to enjoy her summer. And what I decided to do is to read the same book. So that way we have an opportunity to talk about the book, to open up a conversation that will begin with the book. And who knows where that conversation will lead to. But the point is to keep the lines of communication open with your children, right? So that all you're talking about is not, oh, what did you do at school? What did you eat for lunch? The same boring
Exactly.
conversations that the kids usually just brush off. Now you can have a deeper conversation on what did you think about the book? What what did you find inspiring? Just create conversations and create that opportunity to bond. So we have to, as parents, become more creative with regards to how we are engaging our children, because reading is important. And Sam, we talked about reading versus audiobooks, and audiobooks are fine if you're an adult. I
Yeah.
do not recommend audiobooks for children,
Right.
because as a child
Well, I mean,
your eyes on the words, because that is how
illustrated books.
you also develop your writing skills, your language skills. Go ahead, Annette.
So for the audiobook, I think like my Sammy is an illustrated book, and it's an audiobook. With my audiobook, there's a lot of drama in there. Like, you hear Sammy, the lighter lighting up, so they like the sound, the
Right,
animation, and stuff
right.
like that. But for older, like teenagers, maybe I would probably go for paperback format, physical reading. Yeah, but for the children's book with animation to it, I think it's gonna help them too. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it is very unfortunate, but the future belongs to those who teach their children to continue to learn and grow through reading. And I'm afraid that we're losing generations of children because by the time they're 10, they're no longer interested in picking up a book to read. So again, calling out to our parents to do more, to not only encourage. I don't like the word encourage your children to read. I like the word setting the example. And my mom is on the live and she will tell you this. That is how I learned to love reading, and that is what propelled me to be successful in my academic career, because I saw my mother reading. My mother worked Sunday to Sunday every day, but on a Sunday evening, she would take a shower. She would put on her nightie, right? You all remember the 90s from the 80s, the 70s. And she would lay on her bed and she would read. And she would read and she would read. So, what did I see as an example as a young girl? A mother who read. So, what did that tell me? Reading was important.
Right.
So I'm giving you a practical example of why you, as a parent, a guardian, an influence in a child's life, while you should not encourage them to read, you should be the example
Yeah.
for them to read.
It's not possible to tell a child to do something
Thank
and
you.
they will always do it when you're not there. It is different if you show them, because children rarely do what we tell them.
They
They
do
do
what
what
they
they see us
see.
do. So it is very good practice to do the things you want to see your children do.
Mhm.
If you, whatever that is, if you want them to be successful in life, you want to give them a chance. And I want to say that for people like us, in the where we grew up, in the our ancestry, we some of our ancestors, when they were plucked from the motherland and brought to this part of the earth, of the world,
Mhm.
they weren't afforded the opportunities to read and learn.
Good point.
But now that's done away with. No one can stop you from learning to read. No one can stop you from reading anything you want, no matter how many people say they want to burn this book or ban this book or all of this foolishness, nobody can actually stop. They can't actually stop you. So, and especially now, there's so much information on the internet. There's really no need. There's really no barrier to how much you can learn. All of it is really up to you, how much you want to learn. And in this day and age, there's no reason for there to be an illiterate adult. We don't want illiterate children, but we certainly do not. There's certainly no reason for an adult to be unable to read. I remember we used to have an adult education program years ago. I don't even know if we still have that. I don't hear about it. But if we don't anymore, this is something that whomever is responsible should look at reconstituting, revamping, make it modern for the modern age, include technology and all of that. Because if we can't read, if we end up with a whole society, a whole generation of people who are unable to read, how will the society function? Because the older folks, well, even young people, as you see these days in Dominica, for example, how quickly someone is here, and then the next few minutes, the next thing you're seeing on online is RIP. So we have only one life on this earth, and we have to do our best to live it the best we can and do whatever it is we can to impact society in a positive way. And I think, as you say, you don't like the word encouragement. I take it from you too.
Example.
Show our children that reading is important.
Yeah, be the role model. And I'm happy you mentioned that our ancestors did not have the luxury of learning to read, because I once read a statement where someone said, if you want to hide information from Black people, put it in a book.
I've been hearing that all my life.
I mean, how heartbreaking is that? How heartbreaking. If you want to hide information from Black people, put it in a book, implying that we do not read. How sad is that, right? And then I always remember, even with songwriting, look at Shelley, look at the music he's able to craft, right? Why? Because he's a Harvard graduate, and I'm sure as a Harvard graduate, he's done some reading in his time. And you know, I always remember this funny story that Wadix once said on one of his programs, that the guys from his generation were able to write better lyrics because they spent so much time writing letters to girls in the countryside that they wanted to court. They wanted to date the girls. There were no cell phones. Right? So what you had to do was write a nicely crafted letter to inspire her to want to be your girlfriend. And that is why the lyrical content.
And some of us had pen pals.
And now listen to our lyrical content in our songs in Dominica.
You know, you can tell the difference, you know, between someone who actually thinks before they write a song or before they write whatever it is they're writing, as opposed to someone who may have that skill but hasn't really developed a way of getting their point across without being either extremely graphic or extremely violent. Being able to put things in a way where both you can send a message to adults and you can also send a message to children, because let's face it, children listening to some of these things, some of them even know it by heart. But it's a problem for them to read their science book, but they know some of these things. But you can always tell, as you mentioned, Shelley, you can tell the difference in how he writes and how certain other people write. And it's not just about the lyrical content, it's the structure of the song and all of that. So it's just, all of that comes from being able to read and understand what you're reading.
Yeah. So when our children say, "Oh, I want to be, you know, the next hottest booyah performer," what we should say to them is, it starts with reading. because that is how you're going to be able to make the best lyrics in the world, and that is how your music is going to be able to sell. So get to reading so you can learn to master the English language and create great lyrics that will sell your song. But I don't want us to end before we talk about AI. Is AI a threat or an opportunity? Annette.
Well, I love AI.
That's okay. You
I
can
love
unmute it.
I love AI.
How do
I
you
love
use it? How
ChatGPT.
do you use
I
it?
well, I love ChatGPT. That's my friend.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I will tell you, AI will never get is for me to ask it to write a book for me or a song or a poem or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else I will ask it, but that it will not do. So I love it. I love what
Mm-hmm.
it represents, and again, it's how you use it. And
Yes.
I use it a lot, but that is where I stop. I will never use it for my creative art. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I like the other day I was asking ChatGPT about I want to order plush Sammy dolls eventually, and I was asking it places I could order it and the prices,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So it gave me a whole list, of stuff like I could buy my plush Sammy doll and the prices, what's affordable or not. But when it comes to my creativity and my writing, so for my poetry book, Her Words Unleashed, I wanted to do it colorful because everybody that knows me know I am very bright. And so if you open my poetry book, I have it with me. The pages are different colors. See? You don't normally see poetry books like that with different
Mm-hmm.
colors, bright. You don't see that. So the pictures in the poetry book, they're all me, even the men. Their face is my face. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah.
And I wanted it that way. So all the pictures, my face. So we use AI.
Mm-hmm.
We use AI for the pictures, not the poetry, not the
Mm-hmm.
poems.
Mm-hmm.
So I love AI. Even the cover, the lip was
Mm-hmm.
AI.
Right.
So I'm very careful with AI and what I use it for. But I will
Mm-hmm.
tell you, all the poems in there were written by me over the years, but the pictures, AI, just to make it more
Right.
interesting and digital and all of that.
Yeah.
Right. But
And,
so
and
those
and that is
pictures,
great, but the fear is those who will not have the limitations that Annette has put on herself. Because I know now on Amazon, they're literally asking you if your book is AI generated or if you
you
wrote
cannot.
it.
Right.
So
So,
unfortunately,
yeah.
so that will be a topic we will discuss during one of the workshops. So again, guys, the reason you want to make sure you come in and join us for these workshops because we have so many interesting topics. But I didn't want the night to end without us talking about some of the books that will be featured. So Annette, first of all, I want you to tell us where we can get in touch with you so that you can tell us where to get your books. So what is your contact information?
Yeah, so I have my books on Amazon, but I honestly do not use Amazon. I do not tell people to go on Amazon anymore to buy my books just because I don't make money off of Amazon. So
Mm-hmm.
I prefer people buy my books from me.
Okay,
So I am my phone number. I could give you my phone number, my email
sure.
address.
Yeah, your phone number because you're on WhatsApp, right?
So yes, so
Yes.
it's
What's your phone number?
1-869
869.
1-869
Uh-huh.
667
667
6458.
6458. So let's just use the phone number because you're on WhatsApp. So
Yes.
Annette is area code 1-869 667 6458. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's
And then
correct.
Sam,
Yes.
while I'm posting this, I also wanted us to mention a very important launch that we did in Dominica because now we have the Dominica in Puzzle now available in Dominica. So this talk about innovation, talk about creativity, and I'm showing the book for those who are listening on the radio. So this is called Dominic Anu, Dominica in Puzzle. It is now available at Jay's Bookstore. And what we've done, because we have to continue to innovate, we have to continue to evolve, especially to capture the interests of our children. So the description reads, whether you prefer to call her Dominica Write-Tukubuli or Nature Isle of the Caribbean, one thing remains true. We all love her. No matter where we go, she remains forever in our hearts. Nothing gives us more joy than finding meaningful ways to give back. Our hope is that if it's in some small way, that this book of crossword puzzles will help Dominicans, friends, and visitors to our wonderful paradise gain some insight into our history, culture, and people. Our hope is that it will help us understand what it means to be Dominican. The real question is, we are Dominican. Are you? So again, we have to find new ways to
Right.
innovate and new ways to educate our children. So this is a collaborative effort. Again, talking about collaboration and putting our egos to the side, right? This is a very simple puzzle book. And what it is meant to do is to educate, inform, and just know our history, know our identity. So it is now available at Jay's Bookstore in Dominica. If you would like to grab a copy, shared with your children, your friends, another great way to bond with your children. And also, it is available on Amazon.com. You can simply look up Dominica in Puzzle. And during the festival, we'll also talk about Anua Pon Creole, which is our Creole learning language book. We have Push Past 10. Of course, the importance of being consistent with all your life goals. So we're just going to celebrate everything that is about Dominica's culture, Dominica's literary arts, and again, the importance of building that cultural industry. So guys, as we wind down for the evening, your final thoughts on the Write-Tukubuli Festival, again, September 15th to the 20th, and all you need to do at that time is to go to YouTube, Write-Tukubuli, and you will be able to join the festival. So your final thoughts as we wind down.
Yeah, thank you for that, Dr. Simone. Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it so much. Thank you to Mr. G and the Q family. And I might add that the books you mentioned, none of them were written by AI.
Oh, yeah, we did the work.
Rest assured.
That's a good one.
Nice.
Right? And it never will, like you, Annette. I love the AI as a technology tool. And I think it's important to use those tools, but in the right way. And everything goes
Exactly.
from the person's heart. And, in any event, as we leave, I just want to encourage the public to support us. And if you support the Write-Tukubuli Virtual Literary Festival, you're supporting every Dominican author, including yourself and your friends, your family. And so attend events, share the word, buy books from our authors. This, folks, this is important. Buy the books, because if you don't buy the book, the authors, even if they're not doing it as a way to earn a living or to get rich, it is an encouragement. So please volunteer your time and, encourage a young person to read, to write, and, every little action helps to build momentum. And the festival belongs to all of us, myself and Nicole and the others, Moan, Anthony, all of us. We may be organizing it, but it belongs to you. It belongs to Dominicans, it belongs to every reader and every writer. So, be there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you for joining us. And we
Yes,
look
thank
forward
you.
to the festival. Annette, your final thoughts?
Thank you for having me, Simone, this connection. Oh my God, I'm so happy to be a part of this literary festival. I really want to learn a lot. I'm glad that you guys asked me to be a part of it also, to share my input. I'm looking forward to that. I want people to learn from me and I want to learn from you guys. So it's a learning process of working together. kind of process. So I'm excited. I can't wait. And yeah,
Yes.
on Saturday, right? Your workshop is on the 31st.
Yes, that's our
Sunday.
recording.
So report got okay, right?
Yes,
So
but the
see you
festival is
then.
September 15th to the
16th.
20th. So, guys, I want to thank you for joining us this evening, whether you listened on the radio or you joined us on social media on Facebook and YouTube. Lambi, thank you for being in the studio, the Q95 FM family, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. We will be back with you in 2 weeks. And by the way, we've had a lot of people reaching out to be guests on the program. So I would encourage you, if you have an up and coming event that you're looking to promote, please reach out to me at least a month in advance, because this program gets booked up very quickly. As a matter of fact, I just had to change the dates on 2 programs because someone contacted me with something to promote early October, and we were already booked for September 24th. So, to avoid all the confusion, please reach out to me at least a month in advance. You already know my email address, pushpast10@gmail.com, pushpast10@gmail.com. So always wonderful to be here with you as we continue to harness the power of international radio, technology, social media, and podcasts to leverage the expertise of our Dominican brothers and sisters at home and in the diaspora for the sustainable development of our country and our region. So I am your host, Dr. Simone Matthew. It is always wonderful to be in your company for another episode of Roots Connections right here on Q95 FM radio. We will see you soon. Don't forget, for further information for the Write-Tukubuli Festival, you can send an email to writekubuli2025@gmail.com, and we will see you at the festival. We're going to have music. Sam, who making the big and saltfish?
Ooh, makes sense selfish.
You know,
We're gonna
that's
aim by the
one
computer.
thing we can't provide virtually.
I know, right? Oh my God, that
What you could
sucks.
do is make your baked and saltfish, your
Right.
whatever you want at home.
Yes, and eat
Come
it
on
in front of
live, come on
everybody.
the live, and
And eat it
show
in
us
front of
you eating
everybody.
your baked and saltfish.
Yes,
That's about
excellent,
I know,
excellent.
right?
And then we'll be saying, "Oh, mute your mic, mute your."
Yeah,
But guys, thank you.
we don't want to hear you charming. You know
Right,
I
right,
know.
right. But guys, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
And with
thank
that,
you
we
so much.
No
say
problem.
enjoy the rest of your
Yeah,
week and
you
have
too.
yourself a wonderful night.
Yeah.
Take
Bye.
care. Thank you. Thank you, Lambi.
Annette, I'll see you tomorrow. Simone,
Yeah,
I'll see you on Friday
Yeah,
and
oh my
Saturday.
God,
Yes,
6
sounds
o'clock.
good. We'll be in
Yeah.
touch. Take care.
All right, take care.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you, Lambi.
Roots Connections on Q, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. every other Wednesday on Q95, the big station. Dominicans journeyed beyond our shores for decades in search of economic opportunities and educational advancement. Many